Good morning, children. We were studying classification of animals, and today we will be studying the method of naming living organisms. First of all, I would like to tell you that why this system is needed. See, children, common names of plants and animals often vary with language and region of the world. Now, if I take one example, and one example is there in your textbook also, let us take the example of cat. Now, in English, we know that this particular animal is known as cat. Now, if you travel to different parts of India, then only you will find that cat is known by different names in different languages. So, this is a problem. If somebody is not knowing English and is only comfortable with his or her own language, then we won't be able to understand that that particular person is talking about which living organism, right? So if within a country there can be so much of problem, then just imagine that across the world there are so many countries and so many languages. That is why if we continue with the local name of a particular animal or a plant, then it won't be easy for a person from some other country or region to understand that we are talking about which plant or animal. That is why we need one internationally accepted name of every living organism, right? Every living organism should have one internationally accepted name, and that name is known as scientific name. All right, now see, children, what is written: the local name for one animal in one country may not be understood by the people of other countries. Therefore, there is a need to give all organisms an internationally accepted name. So who did this? Carl von Linnaeus. He was a Swedish scientist, and he introduced a simplified system of giving internationally accepted name to each living organism. Okay, so this internationally accepted name is the scientific name, and the system of naming of living organisms is called binomial nomenclature. Nomenclature word means naming, and binomial means name will consist of two parts. Bi means two. Okay, so scientific name of every living organism has two parts. All right, now we will see that what do we call those two parts. See, children, binomial nomenclature. Under this system, a scientific name has two parts. The first part of the name is called genus or the generic name, and second part is species or specific name. So as I said, binomial nomenclature means naming of a living organism, and name will have two parts. First part is known as genus, second part is known as species. One example is here. Scientific name of tiger is Panthera tigris. Now here Panthera is genus and tigris is species. Okay. Similarly, take the scientific name of lion. It is Panthera leo. So Panthera is the genus, leo is species or the specific name. Now, what is the meaning of genus and species? That also we should know. So first let us understand that what is species. Species is a group of individual organisms which resemble each other very closely and can interbreed among themselves. So species means those organisms which are similar to each other. All right, and they are able to interbreed freely. So they resemble each other in appearance means they will have similar body parts, they will live in similar habitat, and they can freely reproduce amongst themselves, right? Now, what is genus? Genus means group of species that are closely related. So, when some species that are closely related, you take them together, then they form a genus. So, closely related species resembling each other are grouped into a genus. Now, as we studied the examples of lion and tiger, if you must have noticed that the scientific name of tiger is Panthera tigris and that of lion is Panthera leo. So, the genus is same in both the cases, right? So, they come under the same genus, only their species are different. And through their external appearance, you can tell also, children, that these lion and tiger, they are closely related species, all right? That is why they come under the same genus. Now, basic idea you have got about nomenclature, binomial nomenclature, right? So, few points that you have to remember, that there has to be one internationally accepted name given to all living organisms, so that everybody can understand that we are talking about which organism if we use that internationally accepted name. So, Carl von Linnaeus was a Swedish scientist who started one naming system. Okay, he was the one who introduced a simplified naming system. And what is that naming system known as? Binomial nomenclature. Binomial nomenclature has two parts. Nomenclature means naming, and binomial because the name consists of two parts. What are they? Genus and species. Okay, species means those living organisms which closely resemble each other and they can freely interbreed, they can reproduce freely. And genus means closely related species. When they are grouped together, then they are grouped under the same genus. Okay, now if you see that when I wrote scientific name, even in your book, wherever you will find scientific name, they are written in italics. Here it is in printed form, so it is written in italics. See, children, Panthera tigris and Panthera leo. And see the genus name, it starts with a capital letter and the species name starts with a small letter, right? So you also have to consider these rules while writing scientific names. Now this you are seeing as a document and it is in printed form, so here I have written the name, scientific name, in italics. When you will write down scientific name in your notebook, then you will write it down normally, but you will underline genus and species separately. Alright, so let us see the rules one by one. Genus comes first and the first letter is capital. Species comes second and its first letter is always written in small letter. Children, you have to remember these rules and you have to apply them while writing scientific names. If you write down the name and you forget to underline separately the genus and species, or if you are writing the species name also, if it starts with a capital letter, then your marks will be deducted. Okay, these rules you should apply while writing scientific names. Now, scientific names should be printed in italics, and if handwritten, it should be underlined separately. Example, while writing scientific name of man, see, I've written it normally, but then they are underlined separately. Okay, Homo sapiens, do not make one common underlining. They should be separately underlined. This is the way to write it down. Alright. Now children, in your book there is one table, table number 3.1, where you will find English names of 10 different living organisms and their scientific names as well. Now it is what I have done is I have selected 5 names for you all. You have to learn scientific names of these living organisms. Okay, so you will learn the scientific names of rose, mango, dog, tiger and man. Followed? Thank you, children.